Welcome back everyone, this is part 3 to my How to Play Hearts of Iron 4 series. Today we're going to be going over construction. Now I'll be going over the different building types, what they all do, and the purposes of civilian factories. Now you'll notice up in the top, right here where my cursor is, I'm pointing on something that says factories. Now what that means is that's a total of all our military factories, our naval dockyards, and civilian factories. Now, military used for producing ground and aircraft production units. Naval dockyards are for building ships, and civilian factories are for construction and trade. So I'm going to go over what civilian factories do and how you can use them. So I'll go ahead and zoom in. We're playing as the Soviet Union, as you can see. We got a lot of room for construction. So I'll go ahead and click the construction tab here. So after clicking it, you'll notice that on the top left, we've got a count of how many civilian factories we have, which are indicated by this orange factory icon. Now you'll see 27 are being used. Now what's that mean? Well, down here from part 1 I talked about how consumer goods waste your civilian factories. Here we can see exactly how many are being wasted. So we got 27 being used because of our economy law, and that's bad. That's a little over half or so. And then right below it is traded goods, because you also trade your civilian factories for resources. But we're going to get into how to use them now. You use them to build different upgrades that upgrade your states and that provide more production power to your country. So there's state buildings here. So there's infrastructure. These are buildings that are placed on states, of course. Now all these numbers mean are how many out of like the possible slots you can put in infrastructure. So let's say I was playing as Russia, which I am, and let's say I wanted to attack Poland. Well, I want to get supply to my troops there, so as you can see I'm going to plop a few down here. This should allow us to get the edge on Poland when we attack them. We'll have proper roads and railways. To the right of that is air bases. Now this is where you house your aircraft. It looks like we're pretty good. We got plenty of level 8 ones. Anti-air. Now, anti-air, we don't really have much of. Where's Moscow? I'm going to go ahead and defend the capital from bombings. Now, all anti-air does is attempt to damage bombing aircraft. The higher the level, the more damage it does. To the right of that is grayed out. It says radar station. Now, this just, whenever you place it on a state, it detects enemy troops, ships, and planes for your units, and helps them get the edge in combat. But of course we gotta research it first. We haven't researched yet, and we haven't gone over how to research yet. That'll be later episode. Now below that, this is our shared buildings. These are basically all our factories and whatnot. We got military factory. Now what a shared building is whenever I click on military, I'll click on civilian because I want to place some of those. You might see that we got a few numbers here. Now these are different than the levels. We can't put a level 10 factory like we could with infrastructure. Now we're sharing slots. So each of these has slots. Moscow has 12. They got a whole ton of slots. So we're going to go ahead and plop a few civilian factories down. A good strategy at the start is to build quite a few of these so you could get some construction bonuses. Because the more you have, the faster you build things. Okay, so we plopped a few down. And you'll notice when I click on military factory, it says +1. Well, you notice when I put one, remember these are shared states, they all share the same spots. That takes up the other spot that my civilian factory was going on to. So I don't want to do that yet. I want to save some room in each of my states, but I do want some military factories. So I'm going to put them in the rear just in case the Germans invade me. And you'll notice we got a big queue stacked up now. I don't know, I don't really want to put my infrastructure first. I want to build my civilian factories first, because we're not going to invade Poland for a while. To do that, you could drag them up. Now this is a long process, but I'm going to give you a quick hotkey that can instantly shoot them to the top. So this green arrow, if you hold shift and then you click it, it shoots it right to the top. So that means we'll focus on these civilian factories first. And after that, we'll move to our industry. Now, you'll also notice there's a number here, 15 of 15. Only 15 factories can work on a thing at once. So let's say you had 17. 15 would be working on this and 2 would be working on the next one. So we're good on naval dockyards. All these have to be researched. Synthetic refinery, though, that produces oil and rubber. The one under that rocket site, you can launch rockets to bomb cities. Nuclear reactor produces nuclear energy, such as uranium, to build nuclear weapons. And then below that are province buildings. Now these are slapped on the tiny little provinces. Naval bases provide supply oversea to a region, and they house naval fleets. Land forts are, well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to build a few, actually. Let's say Germany preemptively invaded Poland and then went right through to us. I'm going to build a line of forts here. Now, you might see a big text box where my cursor is. That says click to build. Well, it also has some hotkeys. So you could shift click to build the maximum level, shift right click to remove all of them. You can click control click to put it at the top. Stuff like that. It's really useful for construction. I think you guys should experiment with them because they can be useful hotkeys. So we got a whole line of forts at the very bottom. Now we got coastal forts. Now all these do are defend from naval invasions from the sea. And then below that we've got something that is a weird little icon, but when I click it, this is how you convert military and civilian factories to each other. So let's say I want more civilian factories in Moscow. I click this, it'll swap them. Now it is cheaper than building civilian factories outright, but you lose those military factories. So it's your call on how you want to handle that. So we're all taken care of with construction, and I think that should be it for all the topics of this video. So stay tuned for part 4. We'll be going over production, and y'all have a nice week.